Hello guys, in this video we are going to be installing the CheckPoint firewall, and we are going to be doing a 3-tier which is basically the SMS, which is the management server, and then we're also going to be installing the gateway server, and we are going to be using the EvenG emulator that we installed on Google Cloud. So you can go ahead and fire that up, and after you start that up, we are just going to go to CheckPoint, and you want to go to user center.checkpoint.com, and you're going to create an account. And after you create an account with CheckPoint, you want to log in to the user center.checkpoint.com, and then we are going to go to try our products. We are going to do a product evaluation. So over here is the first thing that it's going to tell you is that you don't have a user center account. So let's go ahead and create one, because before they let you download and evaluate the software, you need to create an account. It's going to be a new customer. You can give it a name, whatever, company name, say Acme, CCG. Account name optional, industry, you can pick whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. Company size, it doesn't really matter. Telephone is optional. Address is going to be, let's just say 108 West Boulevard. City, let's call it Baltimore. The country, whatever country you're from. I'm from the United States. Zip code 2120. Let's say that state is going to be Maryland. So let's go ahead and submit. Is your company controlled by the government? Note. Submit. Hopefully there you go. It took my account. So after that, after you have that user center account, we are going to go to try our product again. Product evaluation. And over here, we are going to select the threat prevention evaluation. So we are going to evaluate all the threat prevention blades on an existing gateway. Let's see, only threat prevention, only one evaluation. Let's go ahead and select the evaluate all the gateway and management blades on any gateway. Let's evaluate all the threat prevention blades on an existing. We don't have an existing gateway, so we are going to say only one evaluation. We are going to select that account that we have. IP address is optional. The purpose of this evaluation, you can say that it is for whatever you want. You can say it's for lab environments. If you want to, they will call you, so you don't want to check that, because they will call you. Let's go ahead and get that evaluation so we can download the CheckPoint software. It's going to be an ISO. Come on, CheckPoint, you can do it. So there we go. After it's downloading, it's going to tell you to the license is going to be for 30-day free trial. So you want to sign in to the product center. So let's go ahead and over here. So you're going to click on this link, and it's going to take you to the product center. And from here, let's see, 30-day trial. Okay, information. Let's go ahead and exit from here. Let's go ahead and go to product evaluation. All in one. Next. Looks like it's taking me to the same one. Lab environment. Get evaluation. So you're going to take me to the same one. Looks like we are in a loop right now. So let's go ahead and go back. So sign in to the CheckPoint User Center with the User Center credentials. and we want to select the all-in-one security gateway management, all software blades. There we go. Let's go ahead and go to that link again. And it is saying that we want to select the all-in-one security. Let's go ahead and copy this. So the all-in-one no support for this product. License information. We don't want that. We just want to download it. Come on, guys. 25 virtual. So let's go ahead and close this. Let's go ahead and try it again. Let's go ahead and try it. Get a trial for the next generation firewall. We want to do the all-in-one. Get evaluation. Up the purpose, live environment. Get evaluation. Okay, so what you really want to do, you want to go to the download page. And let's go ahead and download it. And there we go. It's going to give you this image. You want to go ahead and save it. And that's going to take 7 minutes for me. Depends on how fast your internet is. Look at that, 6 minutes left. So let's go ahead and pause this video. So after you download the CheckPoint ISO from the CheckPoint website, what we need to do is we need to upload it to the EVE-NG emulator. So you need to upload it to this website, and before we do that, we need to create a directory to it, and the way that you do that is that we need to basically open an SSH connection. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to take a couple seconds to connect to it. Come on, you can make it. There we go. So after you connect to it, you want to do a sudo I. There we go. And from here, you want to make a directories, which is mkdir, and it's going to be in the opt unit lad add-ons qemu. And from here, you need to specify what is going to be the name of it. So the name for this one is going to be CPSG art 80 -10, and since this one is going to be the management one, I'm just going to put MG at the end, so I know, because remember, we need to create the management checkpoint, and we also need to create the gateway, because that's how the three-peer topology that we're going to be making. We need to have the management server, the checkpoint management server, and the checkpoint gateway, and we also need to use a Windows device with the checkpoint application in it. So that's going to complete the 3-tier. So if you do the mkdir dash opt dash unit lad dash add-ons dash q emu dash csp sg dash r80 dash 10, and then you make it management, you just put mg. You can put whatever you want, but since I want to I just want to label it mg because this one is going to be the management one. There we go. So then after that, you want to go to cd opt unit lad add-ons q emu and then you want to do cp sgr8010 mg, which is the directory that we created. So there we go. So after that is there, we need to go ahead and upload it to this location, and the way that you do that is by using FileZilla. So you need to have either FileZilla or WinSCP. I remember, yeah, WinSCP. So let's go ahead and copy the public IP address. Copy it. Oh, I guess I didn't copy it. Go ahead and remove that. Let's go ahead and copy it. There we go. Open FileZilla. Remoting with the username is going to be the root, and the password is whatever password you made it. Port is 22. I believe. Yep, 22. You can just say always trust. Authentication failed, so I think since I created a password, there we go. Whatever password you made it whenever we did that configuration for EVNG, that's what it is going to be. So now you want to go back to a directory. You want to go back. Then after that, you want to find opt unit lab, and then it's going to be add-ons, and then we are going to go to QEMU, and here's the directory that we made. So then after that, you want to go where your checkpoint is, and mine is in the downloads. So if I find the downloads directory, there we go, in here, and I have it at, I think the name of it is checkpoint something. Where is it? Checkpoint. Here we go. Checkpoint. R8010T479. Here we go. This is the one that we downloaded from the website. So you want to go ahead and drag it, and we are going to upload it. And it's going to take some time. It depends on your internet connection. Mine sets an hour and something. So after I upload this, we are going to configure it. So let's go ahead and check back on the next video. On the next video, after this is done uploading, what we're going to be doing is that we are going to configure it. And when that is done uploading, you can go ahead and go to that directory that we created, and if you do an ls to list, you can see right here that we have successfully uploaded that checkpoint image. So the first thing that I want to do is that I want to change the name of it. So if you do an mv checkpoint tab, and I want to rename this to cd-rom.iso, says permission deny. So let's go ahead and, before we do that, let's go ahead and do a sudo let me see, we are going to let's make this bigger. Let's try to rename it again, but let's do a sudo. There we go. And if you do a list to see it, you can see now that we have renamed the cd-rom .iso, that image. And after that is done, one of the things that I want to do is I want to create another directory, and I want to copy this image to that directory, and that directory is going to be for the gateway, because remember, we are doing a 3-tier topology, in which we're going to have the management, and we also need to have the gateway. So we need to go ahead and copy this file and put in a directory that we are going to create right now. So to make a directory, let's do sudo mkdir, and we are going to put it in the opt unilab add-ons qemu, and we are going to be calling this cpsg r80-10, and we are going to name it GW for gateway. There we go. So now if we do a cd to go back to the directory, and if we do list, you can see now that we have two directories, one for the MG, which is where this cd ISO is, and the other one for the gateway. And if you go to the, and if you do a cd cpsg to get into the gateway, let's see the, oops, so cd no such directory, what did I name this, ls, there we go. So I want to get into this gateway, cd, oops, what is it not taking me there? So oh yeah, so list, let's do a cd cpsg, why is it not doing the tab? Let's go ahead and do sudo I, there we go. From here, let's go ahead and do a cd opt unilab add-ons qemu, let's go ahead and list it, there we go, cd cpsg gw. So if we go into gw, we list it, you see that we don't have anything. But if we go back and if we go to cd cpsg management for mg and we do a list, we can see that we have the ISO over here. So what we need to do, we need to move this ISO into into the gateway one. So the way that you do this is by doing a copy. So we are going to copy cd-rom and we are going to paste it into the opt unilab add-ons qemu cpsg gateway. So we are going to, what we're doing right now, we are copying the cd-rom ISO into we are basically copying it into the GW because it is in the MG, but we also need it in the GW so we can run the gateway, right? We are going to be configuring a management server and also the security gateway for CheckPoint. So there we go, that was done. Now if we go into, we go back and we're going to cd cpsg gw for gateway and we do an ls, you can see that we have the cd-rom over here and should also have it into the management as well. So if we do a cd cp if we do a cd that 2 dots to go back and then we go cd cpsg mg list, you can see that we have it in both locations. So that is great. So we have those there. Another thing that we need to do is that we need to basically create, or we are going to upload a Windows image, and you can get a Windows image either from any of those sketchy websites or you can get it from straight from Microsoft. You can get like an evaluation image, but we need to create a Windows image because the Windows image is going to allow us to basically configure the gateway, the checkpoint gateway, and also the checkpoint management. Because we need a browser, and we also going to need the checkpoint smart client, which is the one that lets you manage the gateways from the management. So with that being said, what we need to do is that we need to upload our image, and before we actually OPT Unilat add-ons QEMU, this one is going to be called, I'm just going to call it Win 10 for Windows 10, or Windows-10 for Windows 10. Alright, so if we do a CD and go back and we do a list, you can see now that we have a directory for Windows 10, we have one for the management for checkpoint, and we also have one for the gateway, for the checkpoint gateway as well. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and upload our Windows image, and the way that you do that, just like we did for the checkpoint, we need to go and copy this external IP address, and we are going to go into FileZilla, and we're going to upload it to that location that we created, which is the Windows 10 folder. So the host is this guy, root. Password is whatever password you set it up to. You can do port 22. There we go. So we are going to go back. We are going to go into OPT Unit Lab add-ons QEMU, and then the Windows 10. That's the directory that we created, right? And if you want to see it that we actually copy the checkpoint ISO, you can see it right here under the gateway, and we also have it under the management. Great. So now if we go to Windows 10, we don't have anything, so we need to upload our Windows 10 ISO that I have over here. So let's go ahead and move it over here. So that's going to take about, let's see, it is saying that it's going to take like an hour or so. That's because I'm a little bit far from the from my router, and it is wireless. My computer is wireless, so we're just going to wait for this to upload, and on the next video we are going to be configuring. First we're going to configure the Windows machine, then we are going to configure the management, the checkpoint management, and then we are going to configure the we have to configure the checkpoint firewall. So we are going to set everything up for this course, and we also need to add a we also going to be adding a Cisco switch, because we need a Cisco switch so we can connect to other firewalls. So we are going to be adding a Cisco switch as well on the upcoming videos. Hello guys, in this video I am going to show you how to add the layer 2 switch that we're going to add, and before we do anything we need to upload another image, but this image is going to be not as heavy as the Windows 10 that it is still uploading, but it is the image of the Cisco switch, which is, see if I can find it. It has to be in the downloads. There we go. So this one right here, and we need to upload this to the Unilab, to the OPT slash Unilab slash add-on slash IOL slash bin. So it is in the, like I said again, OPT slash Unilab slash add-ons slash IOL. So IOL slash bin. This is where we are going to put it. As you can see, there's nothing there. So this image, let's go ahead and upload it. It shouldn't take that long. See, only 5 minutes. And while that is happening, what we need to do is we need to go in CD. So we want to go into that place. So if we go into do a CD, 2 dots to go back, and then let's do an LS. Over here we want to go into CD IOL and then CD bin. In here, if we do a list, you can see right now that we have that layer 2 image in there that is still uploading. Only 4 minutes left. Okay. So while that is happening, we need to go ahead and add a license for this Cisco IOL. So the license, I can leave you guys with a link for this license. So we need to go ahead and create a nano. It is going to be called, I think it's called, let me see if I remember. Let's just, you can basically call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it key.py. Then we are going to paste that in here. Here's the stuff that goes in there. We are going to do a Control X, and then we are going to say Y to save it and press enter. Now if you do an LS, you can see now that we have that Python in there. And if you do nano and do key, you're going to see in there what we pasted. That is the license. So if you do X to get out of it, so that is the license. So what we need to do is that we need to go ahead and execute this key.py. So if we do Python key.py, it is going to give you this license right here. So if we need to go ahead and just copy it, and that license needs to be inside another file that we need to create. So if you do a nano and the file, this, you need to spell this correctly. This one, you cannot name it whatever you want. This one needs to be named see if I remember, it's I think it's IOURC. Yep, IOURC. Okay, you cannot name it whatever you want. This one needs to be a nano IOURC. And inside here we need to paste a license that we copy. Then you want to do a Control X to exit, and then yes to save your configuration. Press enter. Now if we do LS, you can see now that we have 2 files. We got the Python key, the key.python that gave us the license when we execute it, that we put inside IOURC, right? So now if you want to see what we have in there inside of, you can do a nano to open the editor, and you can see that we have the license in there. Okay, Control X. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and change the to make the IOURC and file executable. So you need to change the permission. So you do a chmod plus X, and then you type the name of that file. If you do an LS, now you can see that it is an executable. You can see that it turned green. Before it used to not be green. Okay, so that is great. Let's go ahead and see where we still got a couple seconds left, And while that is uploading, let's just go ahead and pause this video until it is done uploading. So it got done uploading, as you can see right now. And if you go and do an ls, you can see that it is in there indeed. So now we need to go ahead and fix the permissions. So you can do a opt unilab wrappers unl wrapper a, and we're going to type fix permissions. There we go. That should take a couple seconds. So now we are good. So now we have successfully added a Cisco switch. So now if we go into our into the browser and we go to HTTP and we go into that IP address that we have for EVE-NG and we log in into it. If we log in into it and we are going to create a new lab, let's just call it CheckPoint 1, save it. That's going to open our lab. So we're going to add a new object, and the first object that I want to add, you can see that we have the checkpoint in here, but the one that I want to add first, because I want to test, is the Cisco IOL, and we are going to select the image that we uploaded. It is saying that it's a router. It is not a router. You can go ahead and change the icon to a layer to this switch right here, and the label, say 1, save it, and that's going to add it. So I wanted to start this bad boy up and see if it works. It looks like it is working. You can go ahead and open. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead and stop it, and let's go ahead and log out of it. And instead of native, let's go ahead and do HTML5e. So you want to select HTML5 console. Now let's go ahead and start this bad boy up again. Let's go ahead and select it. It's going to open a new window. And there it is. We have a Cisco switch in here. So the switch is working. If we do enable, show running config, you can see the running config. So that is working. That is great. So now we have successfully added a Cisco switch. On the next video, since we are still waiting for that Windows image to upload, we are just going to start configuring the management, the checkpoint management, and the checkpoint gateway. Hello, in this video we are going to add the Windows 10 machine to EVE-NG. On the previous video we uploaded the Windows 10 ISO. We also uploaded the management ISO for checkpoint, which is the same one for the same one that we're going to use for the gateway. So we uploaded the Windows ISO and the checkpoint ISO, which we're going to use for the management and also for the gateway. So now we're going to add or configure this Windows 10. So we are going to go into CD. We are going to go into that directory that we created for that Windows 10 machine. So opt unilab add-ons q emu ls, and we are going to go into the Windows 10 directory, cd cd and win10 ls or l or even ls is the same. So you can see right now that we have the Windows 10 ISO. What we need to do is we need to go ahead and rename it. So we're going to rename it, and the way that you rename it, let me see if I can zoom in so you can see it better. We are going to rename it from Windows 10. So let me go ahead and remove these spaces so it doesn't give me any. Oops, I just messed up. Okay, let's go ahead and try this again. So it's MV Windows, and we're going to name this CD-ROM see, cd rom that ISO. Let me spell this. I didn't spell this correctly. So cd rom that ISO. There we go. Let's make it a little bit smaller because it is messing. I think I messed it up. Let's go ahead and make it. There we go. Right here should be good. So we rename it to CD-ROM ISO. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and create a virtual hard disk, and we are going to name this Virtuoa. So the way that you do that, you want to do opt qemu bin, and then we're going to do qemu image or img create qcow2, and we're going to name this virtuoa that qcow2, and it's going to be 30 gigabytes. Let's put it capital, or just put G. So we are now going to create a virtual hard disk for that Windows 10 machine. Invalid image. Let's see, what did I miss? Opt create. Oh, I forgot to put a, where is it, an F? There we go. qcow. Oops, I put in the wrong spot. This needs to be over here. There we go, just like that. So here's the command: opt qemu bin qemu image create f qcow2 virtual .qcow2 and 30 gigabytes. And that's how you create a hard disk that we're going to use it for this Windows 10 machine that we're going to be using. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a lab, and we are going to, you can create a lab, but you can use the same one that if you have one open, it doesn't matter. We are going to add an object, a node, and we're going to add the Windows machine. There we go, Windows. And here's a Windows 10 image that we have. That desktop icon is fine. You can change it if you want to. Go ahead and save it. Let me see if okay, when I log, you need to log in as HTML5. I always forget. Log back in again. And now we can go ahead and start this image up. We can go ahead and open it. And there we go. We are now going to install this Windows 10 machine. So let's go ahead and give it a couple minutes so it can start up and we can start configuring this Windows 10 machine. So now you can get the language that you want to install. So you can pick whatever language you want. I'm going to just leave everything as a default. Let's go ahead and go install now. We are going to go ahead and accept the terms, go next. We are just going to do the, let's see, upgrade, install, keep files. So what we want to do we want to upgrade and keep the files and settings? Let's just say and do custom. And after we go over here, we need to go, this is really important, that I do this, otherwise it won't work. So you want to go into load the driver. We are going to browse, and we are going to go into, let's see, load drive, and we're going to browse. Then we are going to go into the floppy disk drive B. after you go in here, you want to go into the storage. We are going to select this one over here, and it depends on which one you want or which one you have. If you have a 64-bit image, you want to use AMD 64, or if you have an 86, or if we have a 32-bit, then you want to select the 86. Let me verify which one I have. I believe I have a 64-bit, but let me look for it. Yep, it is a 64-bit. So then I want to select the AMD 64. There you go. We're going to select next. So this is really important that you picked the correct storage, right? You want to unload the drives, go to the floppy disk B storage, 2003 R2, and then you select either AMD 64 or x86. So there it is, and you found it. You remember that we created that 30 gigabyte virtual disk, and it found it right here. So we are going to select next, and there we go. So now we are going to let it install. So you can see now we have installed the Windows device, but we are not done yet. We need to commit our installation, and the way that we do that is by going into the lab, and we need to go and take a look at lab details. Yep, so lab details, you want to go ahead and copy this link, this ID. You copy it. So now we are going to open LeafPad, or if you have a Windows device, you can open Notepad, and I want to paste it over here. And then you want to do a \0. 0 will be the admin. If you're logged in as another user, then you need to go ahead and take a look which user you're using. But if you have followed my configuration, then 0 should be good. Let me see. So the pod ID, let me see, Windows. Yep, so this one will be, actually this one will be the node. So this one, 0 should be at the beginning. So let's go ahead and add it over here. There we go. So we have our admin, which is a user. Then we have the ID that we copy from the lab details. Then at the end, right here, we need to add the node ID. And the node ID, if you, let me see, if you go ahead and right click on it, you can see the node ID is 2. So we need to go ahead and open Notepad, and at the end we're going to put 2. So we copy the number 0, which is the admin, which that's how I log into it. And then this one, we got this ID from lab details, this one right here. And the last one, we got it from the node ID, which is 2. And here's our end result, this one right here. So what you want to do with that is that, let's go ahead and open our SSH connection. And what we want to do is that we want to do a CD, and we want to go to OPT Unilab TMP, and then we paste what we got. So it is going to be this one right here. This will be the entire command. Okay, it might be different for you, so do not use mine. Just use the steps that I use to gather that information, right? So let's go ahead and copy it, and let's go ahead and open SSH again. There it is. Let's go ahead and press enter. So that's going to take me there after you press enter. And then what you want to do is, the way that you commit it is by doing a, you want to do a OPT QEMU bin QEMU image commit. Let me see, image commit, and we are going to commit the vir TOA .qcow2, which is the image that we created right here. If you guys remember, press enter, and that's going to commit my current Windows configuration, which we put in this virtual hard disk. And that's going to take sometimes, it depends how big this is, but this one is only 30 gig, and the installation, I believe it takes like 10 gigs, so it's going to take some times for this to commit. And if you want to go ahead and take a look at this live, you can just go ahead and open FileZilla, and we want to connect via FileZilla. So let's go ahead and go to get out of billing. Let's go ahead and get my IP address so I can FTP into it. Copy that IP address. Username, root, password, whatever password you set it up to. And it is connecting. Let's go ahead and cancel. Yes, I think I need to put port 22, and there we go. So we are going to go back. We are going to go into OPT, Unilab, add-ons, QEMU, Windows 10, and you're going to see right here that this image is going to go up by size. You can see it is now at 4.5. If you go ahead and refresh, you can see it is now at 5. So it is still committing my image. If you open that, there we go. You can see that it is still committing, and because it is still going up. If you go ahead and refresh it, you can see it is at 5.6, 5.7. So we need to wait for this to be done, and after it is done, we are just going to remove this CD-ROM.ISO because we're not going to use that anymore. So let's go ahead and wait for that. So you can see right now that my image was committed, so we are done. If you open FTP, let's see how big it got. Let's go ahead and refresh. So it got up to 8 gigabytes, so it's 8.8. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and delete the CD-ROM. You can either do it from here by just deleting it, or you can go into the CLI and we can delete it from there. So we want to go in there, which is CD, OPT, Unilab, add-ons, QEMU, and then we call it Win10. If you do ls, you can see that we have the virtual QCOW, and we also have the ISO, which we don't need anymore. So we can go ahead and either delete it from here, or we can also delete it from FileZilla. But let's go ahead and delete it from here, and you do an RM F CD-ROM, and that's going to delete it. If you do ls, you can see it that it's not there anymore because everything was saved into that virtual hard disk that we configured. And also, if you go ahead and go to FileZilla and you refresh, you can see that that file is not there anymore because everything got pushed to that virtual.qcow2, which is the virtual hard disk. So that is it for this configuration installation. We have done all that. Well, before we go anywhere, let's go ahead and configure an IP address for this Windows 10 machine. So if you go down here, and if you right click on it, which I did already, and then you open Network and Sharing Center, it's not happening. I think I'm gonna have to add more CPU power to this Windows 10 machine because it is not doing anything. So it stopped. Let's go ahead and open it again. There we go. So it is connecting. Let's go ahead and give it a couple seconds, and when it boots up again, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just configure an IP address, and the IP address that I want to configure, let's give it an IP address of 10.1.1.1, and the size. Let's make it 13, and that should be good. There we go. That's going to be the IP address that we're going to give it. So let's go ahead and wait for this to boot up. So let's go ahead and change the IP address, which we are going is going to be 10.1.1.1. We are going to right click on it, open network and sharing center. There we go. We are going to go into the Ethernet. We are going to go into properties. See if I remember back in my IT days. There we go. Internet protocol. We are going to use the following: 10.1.1.1, 255.255.255.0. Default gateway. Let's go ahead and name it 10.1.1.3 for now. Let's go ahead and save it. And there it is. We have configured our first image, or basically our second, because we added that switch. So that Windows device up and running, looking good. So now the next one is that we are going to add the management, the checkpoint management. See you in the next one. Hello, so in this video we are going to be adding the management checkpoint. So like you guys probably saw on the previous video, we added the Windows machine, Windows 10 machine. We also added a switch over here. So now we are going to be adding the management appliance for checkpoint, and this one is going to have an IP address of 10.1.1.2. It's going to be added over here. So let's go ahead and let's see. Well, let's see, what we need to do first is that let's go ahead and create a virtual hard drive for that checkpoint image. So let's go ahead and go into the CLI of your of EVE-NG. We are going to go into Unilab. Let's go ahead and see LS. We want to go into CPS, so CD CPS G, and it's going to be into the MG. That's where we're going to add the management. So over here, if we do an LS, you can see that we have our CD-ROM.ISO image, and from here we need to go ahead and create a virtual hard disk, and that virtual hard disk is going to be 80 gigabytes. So we want to do a OPT QEMU bin QEMU IMG create F QCOW2, and it's going to be a HDA QCOW2 80, and that's going to create a virtual hard drive where we are going to store our CD-ROM image whenever we configure it. So there we go. So after that is done, let's go ahead and add another node, and this one is going to be a checkpoint image. You need to make sure that you select the correct one. You need to know that the gateway is for the gateway. Since we're going to the management, then we are going to select the management. Okay, so just remember that. And instead of telnet, we are going to do VNC. After we do the installation, then you are going to be able to do telnet. But for now, we are going to use VNC. All right, let's put it over here. So our topology is growing. We have the switch, which we tried. We have the Windows 10. And now we need to configure the management. And let's go ahead and also edit this IP address and call it MGT for management. Okay, let's go ahead and click this, and what we're going to say is we are going to install Gaia, which is the name of that checkpoint OS on this system. and that's going to do some checking to make sure that we have everything correctly. Let's just go ahead and pause it so we don't have to make this video too long. Over here we are going to select OK. English for me is okay. If you want to have another language, you can go ahead and select your language. We are going to leave everything as default over here, so you can go ahead and press tab and go to OK. Password, go ahead and enter the password that you desire. Press OK. So for the management port, you need to select which one is going to be the management port. For all the checkpoint image that I'm going to be adding is going to have Ethernet 0 as the management interface, so I'm going to leave it as Internet 0 or interface 0. Press OK. The IP address is going to be 10.1.1.2. Yep, 10.1.1.2. Default gateway for now, let's keep it at 254. That's fine. Then we can just go ahead and change it. Are you sure that yes? Press OK. And that's going to be preparing for the installation activities for the checkpoint management. And we have not selected what we want to do with this image. It is after this is configured that is going to ask us to select what we want to do, and we are going to do it via a browser. So that's why I installed the Windows machine, because this has to be done from a browser, and we are going to be using that Windows machine to configure that checkpoint at the end. So let's go ahead and leave it. It is going to take about it depends how much CPU you added, how much RAM it has, but it usually takes about 10 minutes. So after it is done configuring, it is going to tell you that to complete the first time configuration of the system, please log in from the console or connect using a browser to https://10.1.1.2, which is the IP address that we gave it. So let's go ahead and reboot, and we are going to connect with our Windows device. So now we are going to connect our Windows device with that switch. And we also need to connect, of course, that the management interface through that switch, so we are able to connect to it. So let's go ahead and stop it so we can connect it to the switch. There we go. We need to select interface Ethernet 0, because that's the one that has the IP address of 10.1.1.2. You need to make sure that you choose the interface, your management interface. If you select the interface 1, 2, or 3, you need to select the one that you configure that IP address. Just letting you know, because one time I configured interface Ethernet 3 instead of 0, and I could not get to it, and I had to do some show commands from the CLI, and then I was able to figure it out. But yeah, it still gave me some it gave me a really bad time. So we are going to power everything up right now. Let me take a look at not lab details. We want to go into status, see how we're doing with CPU usage. Is at 33. Disk usage is only 13%, which is not bad at all. Let's see if I remember, did we configure that? Yeah, we did configure that virtual hard disk already, so that's good. CPU is at 55. So now let's go ahead and open that Windows machine, and also we can open that management that we're going to configure. And let's see what Windows is doing. Windows is trying to boot up right now. So here's my Windows, and here's the checkpoint. You can see it by the name. It says CP checkpoint, and the Windows says WIN, which is the name of it. Let's go ahead and log into it. And from the firewall, if you want to go ahead and log in, you can go ahead and log in. And if you do a show, I think it's interfaces, you can see all the interfaces, or you can do interface all. Let's see, interface, or show interfaces all. That give you everything on it, and you can see that interface Ethernet 0 is the one that has that IP address. You can just verify like that. If you cannot connect, you can do that command, so you can verify it and see where it was configured. Let's do a Control C. So for my Windows device, what we want to do is we want to go to open a browser. The only browser that I have right now is I have Edge, which is horrendous. Everybody knows that Edge is horrible. Okay, so now where do we want to go? https://10.10.10 is going to be 10. Why are my numbers not working? 10. Okay, 10. That one is 10.1. That one that's 1, or that one that's 10.1.1.2. And there we go. We are there. You can tell that because we have that certificate. But if you get that, that's no problem. You can go ahead and press continue, and that's going to take us to the management. Over here to this management, to the management device. I don't know what I want to call it. A management device. Yeah, management device for CheckPoint. That sounds good. And there we go. It is going to give you the login. So you want to log in with the username and password that you set up. If you didn't set up a username, the default username is admin. So now we are going to configure CheckPoint, and then after we configure CheckPoint, we are just going to commit the image like we did for the Windows device. We are going to commit the image to the virtual hard disk that we created. So there we go. Welcome. It is the CheckPoint first time configuration wizard. Go ahead and press next. It is going to be a setup. Continue with R8.10 configuration. Next. We are going to leave the same IP addresses that we configure. Next. If you want to configure any other interfaces, you can do it from here. We are not going to do that. Next. Let's give it a name. This one is going to be the management. So we're going to call it CP-management. Domain name, you can do that if you want to. We are going to leave everything as default. It's just the host name that I wanted to change. The time, that's fine. So now we are going to either configure the security gateway and or the security management. So we are only going to configure the security management because for CheckPoint you can either have the security management and the security gateway installed in one machine, or you can have the security gateway in one machine and security management in another machine, which is what we are going to do, which is the 3-tier that we're doing. So from over here, this is really important. So for this one, since we are going to configure it just for the management, we are going to uncheck the security gateway. And for the other image, we are going to configure just the security gateway. But for this one, it is only the security management. If you are going to have an all-in-one, which is basically have the security gateway and the security management in one device, then you can do that. But for this, for the labs that I'm going to be configuring, we are going to have two separate devices. So we are going to be configuring security management. Next, you can just use the default admin that we created, admin and the password that you set it up. Or if you want to define a new one, you can go ahead and do that by checking this one right here. But we are going to use the default one. Next, if you want to add any clients to log into the security management from, you can do that. We are just going to set it as any IP for now. That's fine. We can change that later. And there we go. We are going to finish. If you want to improve experience by sending data to CheckPoint, that's fine. Check. Leave a check. Now this is going to start the configuration process. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. So what's going to happen is we are going to configure the management device, right? We are going to configure the management device, and then we are going to add a firewall over here. And I believe I am also going to add a second security gateway, right? This is the management, this is the security management, and we are going to add another device over here, which is going to be the security gateway, and then we are going to add another security gateway over here, so we can do really cool labs with it. So this is going to take a couple minutes. So let's go ahead and pause the video. So after the configuration is done, you can go ahead and press OK. There we go, and that's going to take us into the admin console. There we go. So we are now in here. It's up and running. Everything is good. Life is good. Uptime time is 21 minutes. So we are looking good. So now we need to go ahead and finish this installation for EventG. We need to do the same thing that we did for the Windows, which is that we need to commit the we need to commit this firewall into the virtual hard drive, so then we can use it in another lab, because right now we will only be able to use it right here. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way to do that, like you guys saw before, is that you need to get this lab, the ID. You're going to copy, and we are going to paste it into I'm using LivePad because I have a Ubuntu device, a Linux device, but if you are using Windows, you can use the text editor. So let's go ahead and also copy this and paste it over here. So in front of it, you want to put the 0 TMP Unilabs OPT CD right here, and then at the end you want to go ahead and pick the device ID. So you can go ahead and do that by right clicking on it, and it is number 3. You guys remember that the Windows device was number 2, but for this one it's number 3. You got to make sure that you get that correctly, otherwise you are going to commit the incorrect image. So let's go ahead and go to the text editor again and do 3. Let's go ahead and copy that, and we are going to go into our CLI for our Google Cloud. We are going to go ahead and paste it, press enter, and from here what we want to do is that we want to go ahead and commit that virtual image that we created. Remember, we created that virtual image right here, hda.qcal, and it was 80 gigabytes. So let's go ahead and commit our image, and the way that you commit our image is by doing a opt unilab bin. Let's see, opt unilab, no, opt qemu bin, and then we do the qemu img commit, and we want to go ahead and commit to hda qcal2. Press enter, and there we go. And that is going to take a while because this CheckPoint management, I think it's up to like 10 gigabytes. And if we go to FileZilla and we connect to it again, if you're not connected, let's go ahead and cancel. We're still connected. If you go ahead to the management directory, you can see that the H drive is at 2 gigabytes right now. If you go ahead and refresh it, it's going to keep going up until it is done, and I think it is up to like 10 gigabytes. So it is going to take quite a bit of time, maybe 10 to 20 minutes. It depends on how fast or how, yeah, it's just going to take some time. So let's go ahead and pause this video, and whenever it is done, I'm going to show you what else we need to do, which is to remove this CD-ROM that we have over here. So let's go ahead and pause it, and there we go. After it is done committing, you're going to see this where it says image committed, so that should be good. If you get this error right here, which is coroutine re-enter recursively aborted core dumped, just go ahead and run that command again so you can commit the image, and then it should work, as you can see right now. And if you go to FileZilla, you're going to see how big that file got. It got to 8.4 gigabits. Okay, so now what we need to do after that is done, we should go ahead and delete this cd-rom.iso because we don't need it anymore. So you can go ahead either from FileZilla or you can do it from the CLI. Let's go ahead and do it from the CLI better. So in the CLI, you want to do cd opt unilab add-ons q umu cp mg ls. Let's go ahead and how do you do remove? Remove is rm f cd-rom. There we go. Now you do an ls and it's not there anymore. So that is great. So we have now successfully configured and added to EVE-NG the management device over here. So on the next video, we are going to add the security appliance. So then we can have that 3-tier, because now we have a 2-tier, which is the Windows device, the management device, and now we need to go ahead and add that security device. Hello guys, in this video we are going to connect to the management server, and we are going to download and install the Smart Console. So the Smart Console, it is going to basically complete the 3-peer topology that we are doing for CheckPoint, which is having the Smart Console on the Windows machine, which is going to communicate with the management server, and the management server, it is going to manage all the firewalls. You can have 300 firewalls, and you're going to be able to manage it from the from the Smart Console, connecting to the management server. And from here, with that Smart Console, from your Windows machine, you are going to be able to control all the firewalls. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to my Windows machine, and we are going to go to 10.1.1.2, and we are going to download the Smart Console and install it on my Windows machine. So let's go ahead and do that. We are going to open a web browser, and we are going to go to 10 HTTPS 10.1.1.2, and that's going to take us to the management server over here. So let's go ahead and continue to this web page, and we get that error because it is a self-signed certificate that this web browser does not recognize, but it's fine. You are going to log in with your username, which is admin, and the password that you set up on the initial configuration that we did for the management server. So we are going to log into it, and after you log into it, we are going to log into the web GUI of this CheckPoint security management, so you can see right here. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and download this manage the software blades using the Smart Console. You're going to download it, and you are going to install it. It's probably going to take up to 5 minutes, and then after it is installed, you are going to get this icon right here, which is a Smart Console. So you're going to go ahead and open it after it is installed. And what we are going to do is we are going to connect to 10.10.1.2. Which is the server management right here. And like I said before, the management server, not the server management. The management server is basically a way to centralize the configuration of all the firewalls. So you can connect all the firewalls you want. 300. If you have 300 firewalls, you can connect all the firewalls to this management server, and you can configure from one console. Right? It's like a centralized configuration for all the CheckPoint gateways. Right? So let's go ahead and log in. The same username and the same password that we used to log in to the web GUI. So let's go ahead and exit out of here. Just log out. You can go ahead and press right here, log out, and then we are going to log into it. After it is installed, remember to download it and install it, and that's going to connect to the management server at 10.1.1.2 via the Smart Console. and it's going to take, it takes like maybe like let's say 30 seconds to launch that application and to initialize everything. Less than that. There we go. So now as you can see, we have the CPM, which is the checkpoint management server that we have. You can see the IP address 10.1.1.2, and it is saying that my license is not activated. That's because we are using the evaluation, the checkpoint evaluation. But as you can see right here, you can see the CPU, you can see the memory, so you can see all of it. So what we want to do is, from here, we want to add the gateway, or the gateways. If you have multiple gateways, you can go ahead and add it from here. Since we only have one right now, which is 10.1.1.3, this checkpoint gateway right here, we are going to go ahead and add it over here, so we can configure it from this application. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and press this. It looks like a star. And we are going to select the gateways option. We are going to select the wizard or the classic mode, whatever you want. I'm going to select the wizard mode, and it's going to ask you for the name. If you want to go ahead and name it, I'm going to name it checkpoint GW, and the IP address, this one needs to be in the same subnet as the, or not in the same subnet, but it needs to be reachable, right? It needs to be reachable from the checkpoint management. Otherwise, you won't be able to connect to it. So let's go ahead and press next. The platform, I forgot to do that. It is an open server. Go ahead and press next. And after you press next, it is going to ask you for the SIC or SIC. SIC stands for the Secure Internal Communication. And this SIC creates the trusted connections between the security gateways and the management server and other checkpoint components. And basically, just trust is required to install policies on secure gateways and to send logs between the secure gateways and the secure management. If you guys remember, when we were configuring the checkpoint, I put GP over here. Let me go ahead and remove that. It needs to be CP. Why is it not? Let's go ahead and go back and change that name. It is GP. CP, there we go. It's not GP. I don't know why I put GP. Probably because of group policy. I was working with group policy at work today. But CP, checkpoint gateway. Or you can name it whatever you want. And like I said before, the SIC, whenever we configure that that checkpoint gateway, we configure a one-time password, which was the SIC password. So if you remember that, that's cool. If you don't remember that, I'm going to show you how to reset it. Let's see if I remember that. So enter your password. Let's go ahead and press next. That's going to try to communicate with it. It failed to connect. Okay, that's cool. Let's go ahead and try another one. Let's see if I remember. And it failed to connect again, but it looks like it is in here for some reason. Let's go ahead and click cancel over here, and it went away. Okay, so what you can do, if you forgot your password for that gateway, what you want to do is you want to go to these gateways over here. Let's say like you like me and you forgot your password. You can go to admin, and you're going to enter the password that you used to log in into the GUI, to the web GUI. It's the same password. So over here, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and reset the SIC. And the way that you reset the SIC is by doing a cp config. And from over here, you want to press or do the option number 5, which is secure internal communication. And it's going to ask you if you want to reinitialize the communication. You say yes. Are you sure? You say yes again. Let's go ahead and enter a new one. Oh, I think I did it incorrectly, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and do it again and see if I got it right. Okay, password mismatch. Let's go ahead and enter it again. Of course, there is a password mismatch because I hit 2 buttons at the same time. And there we go. And then after that, you just do number 10 to exit. And what is going to happen is it is going to reset your SIC, and it's going to stop all the services, and then it's going to start all the services again. Or actually, didn't do anything. Let's go ahead and do it again because he didn't do it. Let's go ahead and choose option number 5. Yes. Yes. Activation key. Let's do it again. Okay, and then let's go ahead and just press 10 to exit, and there we go. So when you see this, it is because it is going to change your SIC, and the SIC is basically that one-time password that we set up. I guess I forgot, so I had to reset it again. So there's a good practice or a good video for you, because if you forgot it, like I did, I forgot it, you are able to reset it if you forgot it. So that is a good way to do it. There we go. So it has been reset. Let's go ahead and go back to the Windows server, which has the smart console. Let's go ahead and add it again. In gateways, we are going to go with wizard mode. That's fine. Let's go ahead and put a checkpoint with the CP gateway. Let's go ahead and name it actually CP GW1, because we're going to add another one, and then we can name the other one CPW2. And the IP address for this 10.1.1.3, I believe. Let's go ahead and go to the topology 10.1.1.3. That's good. Let's go ahead and press next. One-time password. That's the password that we just changed, or that we just reset. And there we go. You can see that we have just one interface on ETH 0.10.1.1.3. We can go ahead and close that. That's fine. We can go ahead and finish. And after you finish, it's going to ask you what you want to activate. I want to activate application control, URL filtering. What else do we want to do? Let's go ahead and do content awareness. Let's go ahead and do IPS. Press OK. Antivirus, we can go ahead and just leave it unchecked. And IPsec as well. That's fine. Let's go ahead and press OK. Press OK. You have then again encryption. It is a valid, but you have now defined by editing. So it's not letting me because. Let's go ahead and just uncheck the firewall for now. And that should be good to go. Then we can do the IPsec one, and there we go. That's going to add our CPW1. You can see that the active blades. We have a firewall activated. We have the application control. We have the URL filtering. We have the content awareness, and then we also have the IPS activated. So that's now is going to activate our CPW1. It is going to be added to the CPM, which is the checkpoint management server, and we are going to configure it from this smart console, which is connected to the checkpoint management server, and we are going to be able to configure it from this smart console. So see you in the next video. And we forgot to do, or I forgot to do one thing on my previous video, and it is that we need to go ahead and publish. And publish is basically going to save your configuration so everybody else can see what you have done. Basically, if we have, let's say, 2 admins working on the firewalls, if you publish, they're going to be able what you have done. And then after you publish, you're going to be able to install it. And install it, it is going to send it to the firewall. So let's go ahead and do that. So if you go ahead and publish, and you're going to see that it is going to say that it was done by this admin, and this one is the date, and we made 13 changes. So let's go ahead and publish it. And after you publish it, right, if you log out of this, the changes are still going to be there, but are not going to be sent to the gateways yet. So what you need to do to be able to send to this gateway is that you want to go ahead and install the policy. So there we go, install the policy. That's fine. Let's go ahead and install it. And that is going to be sent to the CPGW1, which is the checkpoint gateway 1, which is this one right here. So it is going to be sent to this gateway over here. So let's go ahead and go not to this one. Let's go ahead and close it. And as you can see right now, you can see now a check mark on the CPWG1. You can see the CPU usage, which is 1% right now, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and wait and see what happens with the policy installation. And like I said before, there we go, policy install. Let's go ahead and clear this. Just me testing stuff. Let's go ahead and clear. If you clear all the other ones, if you have been working like me. So the other one that you should have is this one that we just sent to the CPGW1. And now you can see the status. You can see the CPW usage, and that means that we are now connected to that open server, which is the CPWG with the CPGW1 checkpoint gateway 1, which is this one on my topology. So that was it. That's what I needed to do from the previous video that I forgot to do, was to publish. After you publish it, it's basically saved, and then it is just saved in this checkpoint management server. And if you don't install it, it is not going to be sent to the checkpoint gateway, and therefore it was not going to communicate with that gateway, and you were not going to see that check mark of the status that is okay, and you were not going to see the CPU usage or anything like that. So that's something that I missed on the previous video. Hello guys, in this video we are going to be adding a second gateway, and the way to do that is we can just go ahead and right click node. We are going to go to checkpoint security gateway, and we are going to add a CPSG R8010 GW. Make sure that it's not the management server that you add in. Make sure that it is a gate, or that it is a gateway that you add in, or a GW, like we have over here. And let's go ahead and name it CP2 CP. Let's go ahead and name it CPW2, so we know that it is a gateway. And then we can go ahead and do, instead of telnet, let's go ahead and do VNC. Let's go ahead and add it. We are also going to be adding another node, and we are going to add in a switch. So the one that we added, it was a IOL switch. Let's go ahead and change this icon to this one over here. It's going to be S2. That's fine. And then we can add another node, which is probably going to be, let me see, do we have a virtual PC? That's fine, because we don't really need, because we should be able to, from the Windows device, we are going to be able to connect to the other VC. So we don't need another Windows device. Let's go ahead and add a virtual PC. Let's go ahead and add that desktop icon. That should be fine. Virtual PC name should be fine. How many we are going to add? 1. That's good. Let's go ahead and add it. That's good. So let's go ahead and connect everybody to this. Connect this one to the switch. Let's connect the gateway, the CP gateway to the switch. And now for you to be able to connect the 2 gateways, we are going to have to turn this firewall off. So let's go ahead and right click and stop it. Then we are going to be adding some text. So 10.1.1.1 for one of them. Let's go ahead and make it bigger. That's fine. Save it. 10.1.1. How big do I want it? This big. Let's go ahead and put it over here. This one's going to be 10.1.1.1. We can right click and duplicate it, and this one's going to be 10.1.1.2. Boom. And now we can go ahead and connect both of them together. We have interface 1 and Ethernet 1 and Ethernet 1. That should be good. Let's go ahead and start this bad boy up. Let's go ahead and start this bad boy up. The switch and the virtual PC as well. So now we need to do some configuration on this one. Let's also go ahead and move this one over here. And if we can duplicate it, should be good. Let's go ahead and move it over here. And this network is going to be 10.2.1. Let's go to 10.1.2.1 or that 2.3 so we can keep it the same. Duplicate it. And this one over here, it's going to be 10.1.2.1. There we go. So this is good. So we are waiting. We can go ahead and click on this one. You can see that the system is still starting for the first gateway. For the CPW2, it should be also starting up. It is already up and running. So let's go ahead and do admin and enter. It's going to be the same username and password that we have for this one over here, because it is the same. It is the same firewall. So we need to do some changes over here for this CPW2. If you click on it, it is going to open over here. So if you go ahead and look at the IP addresses that we have, if we do a show interfaces all, you are going to see that Ethernet 0 is down and doesn't have any IP addresses. And this one needs to have a 10.1.2.3, and Ethernet 1 should have 20.1.1.2. So let's go ahead and see what else we see over here. Okay, Ethernet 2 doesn't have anything. Ethernet we made Ethernet 3. So let's go ahead and do it again. So 3, you can see that the link is up for 3, even though we're not using it, and it has 1 and 2 that we say, or whatever we configure. So what we want to do is that we want to go and do a set interface IPv4, or we need to name it first. Let's do 0 first. IP before, address, and we need to specify 10.1.2.3. The mask length is going to be 24. So this one, we just set up this IP address right here, 10.1.2.3, which is Ethernet 0. So that's good. Now we need to specify 20.1.1.2, which is Ethernet 1. So if you just go ahead and press the up key, you can go ahead and just go ahead and change this one to 20.1.1.1 or 20.1.1.2. I believe it is 20.1.1.2. That's great. And this one is to be for Ethernet 1. Great. So now we also need to set the management interface, which is going to be Ethernet 1. That's good. Now we can go ahead and delete interface. We're going to delete interface 3, IP address, IPv4 address, and then we are going to set the management. Did we do that already? I don't think we did. So set, yeah, okay, I think we did already. So we set the management interface to be Ethernet 1. Ethernet 1 is this one, so that's good. So what we need to do is now we need to set interface interface 1 status. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Not up, and this will be on. And also we need to set Ethernet 0. Let's go ahead and bring it up. And for Ethernet 3, which we're not using, let's go ahead and just turn it off because it is on. There we go. And to save my configuration, you can do save config, and that's going to save your configuration. So if you do a show interfaces all, you're going to see that Ethernet 0, which is this one right here, 10.1.2.3. So you have that IP address, 10.1.2.3. It is up and running. Let's go ahead and see one. Ethernet 1 has 20.1.1.2/24. That's good, and the link is up. Let's go ahead and see that 2. We're not using it. That 3, we're also not using it. So it doesn't have any IP address, and it is also down. So that is great. For security purposes, you want to put those IP addresses that you're not using down. So we are good. Now we can go ahead and go to GW. To the first one, you can either go from the Windows machine. I can show you how to do it from the Windows machine. So let's go ahead and go to my Windows machine. And let's go ahead and go to 10.1. We want to go to 10.1.1.3 for my Windows machine, which is in this subnet over here. So we should be able to reach 10.1.1.3 from the browser. We can go ahead and go to 10.1.1.3. Let's go ahead and remove this. Remember, it needs to be 10.1. That's 1. What happened here? 10.1.1.3. And it needs to be HTTPS, otherwise you won't be able to get there. So 10.1.1.3. And we should be able to get there. We cannot get to 10.1.1.3. For some reason, did I not save 10.1.1.3? I cannot get there for some reason. Let's go ahead and see if we are able to ping. Let's go ahead and bring CMD. Ping 10.1.1.3. Looks like I'm not able to ping 10.1.1.3. Interesting. Let's go ahead and go to CW or to GW. Log in as admin. and I believe show interfaces all. So Ethernet 0 is up and running. So this is the reason why we're not able to do that. It is because by default, now since we added to the smart console, by default, I don't think it is allowing it. So what we could do is we can do a security policy, which we're not there yet. So since we're not there yet, what we're going to do is, let's see, we can just do it from the console. So if you just go ahead and open it, if you click on it, it is going to take you here, and we can just configure from here. And the one interface that we want to configure is going to be 20.1.1.1 Ethernet 1. So let's go ahead and do that from that command line for GW, which is this one. I don't want you guys to get lost. So we are going to do a set interface Ethernet, I believe it's 1. Let's go ahead and verify it. It is 1. IPv4 address 20.1.1/24, or we need to do a mask length 24, save config, and there it is. The configuration has been saved, and that is great. So we have now configured all of that. Let's go ahead and go to this VPC over here. Let's go ahead and do IP address 10.1.2.1/24, invalid IP address. Let's go ahead and do a question mark to help. So what we want to do is we want to set, or not set, we want to do an IP question mark address question mark okay. So we can now do 10.1.2.1, and then we can do a mask 255.255.255.0, and then we can do the gateway 10.1.2.3. Invalid options. Let's go ahead. Did I do this incorrectly? Address mask. Maybe the mask need to be 24. Still invalid options. Let's go ahead and do mask. I don't remember how to do this. So IP address. Let's see. We don't want to do that. So /24. Okay. And then so it needs to be /24, and then we specify the mask, and then we specify the gateway, which is 10.1.2.3. Still says invalid, so we don't need to specify the address, just IP. There we go. So IP 10.1.2.1, and then we do /24 to specify the subnet, and then we specify the gateway at 10.1.2.3, which is correct. So that is good. Let's go ahead and go to CPW2. Are we able to ping 10.1.2.1? Okay, so there we go. So we are able to ping. We can go ahead and do a Control-C to stop it. So we are able to ping from this gateway, we're able to ping this VPC, which is 10.1.2.1, as you saw over here, 10.1.2.1. So we're able to ping it. But if we ping from here, let's see what happens. 10.1.2.3, we're not able to ping it because by default, by default, the firewalls do not allow ping. So this is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching.